listening to Combat Sports UK.
Combat Sports UK.
Rob Smith here for Combat Sports UK. I'm delighted to be joined by Tommy Day as he prepares for his ShockNAwe fight on March 15th. Tommy, how are we doing, mate?
I'm doing really well, thank you.
So we'll jump straight into it. You've got a big fight coming up. You're fighting San Chambers at ShockNAwe on March 15th. To talk about that matchup, have you done much research
Correct.
into your opponent?
I've done a little bit of research, yeah. I don't like to fixate too much on my opponents because at the amateur level, opponents change a lot. Like if you were to compare me to my last fight 6 months ago, yeah, the comparison is so much different. It's like I'm a completely different fighter. And I wouldn't assume differently for San, so I don't want to like fixate on things that may have changed.
And I've been watching some of like your pre-fight interviews with other outlets, and I can see how
hmm
excited you are for this matchup. What is it about San Chambers that this matchup excites you so much?
I've got to admit, San's game. That excites me, you know? Yeah, he's up for. I've got to give credit where credit's due. He's definitely game, and I am just as game, if not more game. So I'm looking forward to it. It's literally going to be fireworks.
And so we're approaching fight week now. It's literally the week before the fight, and so we kind of spoke off camera there, saying how you're getting itchy knuckles. So
Yeah,
how ready are you to step into the cage?
mate, I'm so excited, and everyone wants to come watch it. Everyone's messaging me. It was 7 days out, we're 8 days out, so that makes it even more exciting. So yeah,
And so
I am buzzing.
I'm quite curious, leading up to like fight week, as you get closer and closer, do you make many adjustments to your training, diet, things like that? What adjustments do you make?
So this camp's been a lot different. February last year, I had a fight camp where I started the camp really heavy, and I had a terrible cut. I was eating no food throughout the whole camp. I was getting injuries. I felt horrible, kept getting ill. So ever since that happened, I've just said I'm not doing that no more. I'm staying round about fight weight, give or take a couple kilos, and that way I can eat what I want. And then the last week's easy. All I've got to do is just go keto, cut out carbs, cut out salt, and do the bath. And I don't have to worry about any of the weight stuff. So
So
that's the adjustment I've made this camp.
I'm always quite curious because I hear different things from different amateur fighters. Because
hmm
obviously you mentioned how you had a terrible cut previously. What are your thoughts on weight cutting amateurs? Because seen some fighters say they don't do it full stop, and then you see some who cut a little bit.
Mm,
I see some who cut a lot. What's your opinion on weight cutting in the amateur game?
I personally think it'd be better without. I think you could get more fights in a shorter period, but I don't know. A lot of people are pretty stupid. I think if they did on the day weigh-ins, people would cut weight anyway, and it's quite risky. So it's hard to manage. Where it's such a thing now, how do you change that and make people not cut weight regardless of the rules?
And I was watching one of your interviews. It was with Cage Side Badger. So first of all, shout out to them if you've not watched that. Go watch them on Cage Side
Shout
Badger on
out.
YouTube. Yeah, really really good interview. Really enjoyed that one. You spoke about how you came back after losing your first four fights by first round stoppage. How did you come back from that? Because if that was me, I'd be like, oh, I'm done. That's it. I'm not cut out for this. Like, how does your mindset stay so focused?
I've always wanted to do MMA. Like I had this weird fixation. When I wanted to do it, I was like, I want to do this. I remember watching, I can't remember, I was at some mate's house. I watched Nate Diaz, McGregor one, and I was like, I want to do this now. And when I went in the gym, it wasn't like I want to try this out. I was like, I want to do MMA. So where I was so fixated on that, when I took the losses, it didn't mean anything. It mattered
Mhm.
because I know that if I put the time in, like I'd work so hard. That's the one thing that I give myself a lot of credit for is I put hours in on the mat, and I know that that work rate, I won't not see results. Like I literally fuck up other areas of my life to make MMA work for me. So yeah, that's why I'm so confident. You must have seen, like, even though I had three losses, I still walk into the middle of the cage like I am the man. So yeah, it excites me.
I think that mindset's good to have, and I'm a big believer in the amateur game. Record doesn't really matter. Like obviously,
I agree.
no one wants to lose. Everyone wants
hmm
to be undefeated, but in MMA especially, it's not really going to happen. Like if you fight
Yeah,
the best, eventually your time will come. You will get that loss, and I think in amateurs, it's more about the experience of getting
I
cage time
agree.
and fighting the best.
Yeah, I
And
love that as well. I feel like, especially in MMA, there's so many ways that you can lose. There's so many
mhm.
areas of your game you have to fix up. So if you're not taking losses, then something's going wrong there. You're either fighting bums or you're just really fucking good.
And so people who might not know who you are, but they might have seen one of your finishes. I think you know what I'm going to talk about here.
Yeah.
You've got an absolute viral submission, get a Suleiman stretch. I don't think I've ever seen it in amateurs, not especially not recently. So
hmm
was that? like with your jiu-jitsu, is that something that you would you say you're a jiu-jitsu practitioner, or would you say you're more striker, or you are more well-rounded?
That's funny. I originally, when I first started, because like we said, I took a few losses. In my mind, I was a striker, and then I went to a boxing gym recently, and I realised I'm not a striker. Coming on, my boxing has come on really well, my striking has come on well, but it put a bit of perception into me of like what I am. At the moment, with my skill sets, I would just say I'm well rounded. I don't want to. I don't like the idea striker, grappler. Like this is MMA now. I think give it a few years, that'll be out of the equation. You're either good at everything or you're left behind.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I always there's always one name I mention. He fight. I think he's looking to get signed to the UFC now. Aaron Pico is like the first of like he was the first person who could do it all. He was like a Golden Gloves
Mm,
champion. He was Division One wrestler, Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He was like the first person who was I call the New Age, and you see it so much more now in the amateur game. Like there's a fighter
yeah.
who just fought recently on the KCC card, Shea Williams. He's 16, and for a
Mhm.
16-year-old, I don't think I've seen a 16-year-old as good as he is because he's part of this new age where they've been training MMA since they were like four, and
Yeah.
the levels gotten crazy. I completely agree. I think as we get further and further down the line, I think you won't see like specialists in certain areas anymore. I don't think that's the case.
I think so as well. Unless like there is the odd one here and there, like Pereira and stuff, but I think as a rule of thumb, like you need to be well-rounded everywhere. And who knows, there might be like people that end up proving that those people don't belong there anymore. We'll just have to
And
see.
so we'll go back to the submission because when you got that submission, did you
Mm.
in the after it happened, obviously it's all going crazy, celebrating like mad. Did you realize that how big of a deal it was to get such a rare submission? Did you realize how viral it would go?
I didn't even know what the sub was called when I did it, to be honest. Yeah. To be honest, in that moment, I was just happy to roll him through, take his back, continue to tick away, score some points. But yeah, it presented itself, so I took it.
And we'll go back to the match at the Sound Chambers fight. It's a
Hmm.
huge fight for yourself. Obviously, Sound Chambers is a game opponent, like you mentioned there. ShockNAwe is a brilliant card, a stacked card. But I
Mm.
believe if you look on paper, this has potentially fight of the night. Do you believe that's the case?
Oh, 100%.
And so,
Yeah.
what do you think a win against San does for your amateur career?
I like that. What does a win do for this? Well, it's going to put, when I, this is what my idea is in my mind. I want to finish Sam, and then I want to see what everyone else wants to do with me. I would like a title fight, really, after
Mhm.
Sam. But, you know what I'm saying? I don't decide that.
And so, what are your MMA goals? We'll start with amateur goals. So you said how you want to get
Mhm.
titles. Is it literally just rack up as many titles as you can and then look to go pro, or is it more just like is it more just getting the experience in the rounds and titles are kind of secondary? Is it more getting the experience? What's your main focus right now as an amateur?
Yeah, so a title is nice. I think the title's nice just because it sounds nice. But I want to
Yeah.
just be fighting good people. If I'm fighting good fighters that are going to challenge me, then I'm happy.
And so, what are your long-term pro goals? Do you want to be a UFC champion one day?
100%.
And
Yeah,
so,
without
how
question.
is how soon you're looking to go pro? Have you got like in your mind? Like I know certain people have, like they'll say they want to have 10 fights, 15 fights. So for you, is it
Mm.
more just when your coaches say you're ready?
I,
What's the kind of your plans?
I've penciled into my mind I want to go pro mid 2025.
Right,
There's a
okay,
few
okay,
areas of
so
my
soon
game.
nothing.
Yeah, yeah. I want to wait. My bad. 2027. Ignore that. What the hell? I was literally looking at the date. Mid 2027, I'll be 25 by then, yeah? And at that stage, I would have ironed out a load of parts of my game which I need to fix. There's no rush. By the time I'm 25, yeah, I'll still have 10 years of a solid career left. There's no need to just jump the hurdle. Once I'm pro, I'm pro.
And so, in your interview with Cage Star Badgie, I saw that you said you plan to stick it on Chambers from the get-go. So, what message can
Yes.
you send to the fans who might not know who either of you are, who don't know what to expect from the fight? What message do you send to the fans?
Yeah, this is going to be an absolute barn burner. I'm going to stick it on him from the bell. He's not going to be able to breathe in there. So that's the plan. And if I take someone away, at least it'll be entertaining. So that's what you're paying your money for. Come down March the 15th, Portsmouth Guildhall, fireworks.
Class, mate. I love that. I love that. Listen to you talk. It gets me excited to watch the fight. I can't wait to watch it.
No, thank you, man.
And so, one of my final questions is: I've If anyone scrolls through your Instagram, you utilize
Hmm.
social media very well, and I think you're doing the perfect thing these days because I speak to so many amateur fighters, and they're not really
Mm.
active on social media. They've got like private Instagrams, and they're not building
Yeah.
a brand. And I think these days, like one thing I always mention, I was at a PFL Newcastle card doing like covering the event, doing interviews and stuff.
Yes.
And Lewis McGrillen was on the main card over a world champion who was on the prelims. That's because Lewis McGrillen's a name. And I think that just
Yes.
shows where the sport's going. You have to have a name, he said. And I think you do a really good job at utilizing and showing your personality and building a brand. So was that a conscious
Mm.
decision?
Yeah. Really, I try to look at this from a perspective of why do people watch fighting? A lot of them don't actually care about the intricacies of grappling and striking. They just want to see two people fight and they want to see shit talking. They want to see things that make them laugh. It's an entertainment business. It's the same reason why you turn on the TV because you're bored, you want to be entertained. So you need to play into that. That is what this is. And there's a lot of fighters, I think they just want to be the best fighter, but there's so many great fighters. How do you so if Lewis McGrillen didn't have his name, yeah, what would have given him that position to fight and get his name out there more? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I
Like,
think Lewis did a really good job because even before Lewis got into the PFL, I used to see his TikToks all the time, and he was just this young,
yeah,
cocky kid who was just showing videos of him just absolutely starching people, and now he's
yeah,
absolutely blown up. And I think he's the perfect example of building a brand these days. I think it's so important.
I
And
agree with you
so,
so much.
who do you kind of would you say you base your person? Do you say your personality's been based off anyone that you watched growing up?
Yeah, there's definitely things from people that I like, and I think I could use that in my way. But in my mind, I don't want to be like I want to be me, Tommy
Yeah.
Day. So, there's definitely things I couldn't put any names to it, but there's definitely things I've seen. I go, I like that. I'll incorporate that into what I've got. But I wouldn't say that anyone in particular strikes out to me.
hmm And so my final question is because I don't want to keep you too long. I know it's obviously fight week's coming up. It's a big time for you. Obviously, getting itchy
Yeah,
knuckles. I can see already you're about to go. My final question is: can we get an official prediction for the fight?
first round finish.
First round finish. I love it, mate. I love it. Well, Tommy,
Yeah.
I want to thank you very much for coming on, mate. It's been a pleasure speaking to you, and I wish you the best of luck on March 15th.
Now, thank you so much, Rob. I appreciate you having me on.
Also, do you want to give a quick shout out to your socials?
Yes, Tommy Day 01 for my Instagram, Tommy Judgment Day MMA for TikTok and for YouTube.
Perfect, mate. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you. Take care, Rob.